It's age-old advice. You only have one chance to make a good first impression. But in disc golf, if a company switches to a new manufacturer, it's like starting from scratch, all over again. So let's take a look at above ground level discs. And for the first time ever on our channel, these are our second first impressions. Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs, and this has been a year of unexpected moves in the world of disc golf manufacturing. Several brands popped up like Meridian Discs and Supersonic that were hugely impressive entries into the market. And several companies partnered with other brands out of nowhere. ThoughtSpace announced a partnership with Discraft. Discraft announced that they signed Ken Climo and spun up a whole new line of discs around him. And I'll be darned if they aren't flying and selling great, because I bag and Osprey myself. Mint Discs recently announced they have a new manufacturing partnership with Prodigy. And no more than a month or so ago, AGL, a company we knew well, announced they were ending their partnership with Gateway. And their discs are now being manufactured by none other than Innova Champion Discs. None of these were things that I saw coming this year. And it's part of the fun and excitement of exploring brands for the first time, because it keeps us plugged into what you all might care about. It's been over a year and a half since our first impressions video on above ground level discs, and at the time we looked at most of their Gateway manufactured lineup. And ignoring how those discs flew, there are several things that we learned about the company. Owner Josh Jones is not just interested in making discs, but wants to make them sustainably, which leads into several things you need to know about AGL. The first is that their previous discs have all been named after trees, like baobab, dogwood, spruce, beech, and more. With Gateway, they had several lines of plastic in really unique and interesting blends, such as hemp, nylon, and they even experimented with other additives like pine needles. When you buy a disc from AGL, they plant a tree through a partnership with Tree Nation. This is just one of their sustainability and environmentally conscious goals. Also making an effort to partner with companies like One Tree Planted and Fill It Forward to help reduce their carbon footprint and conserve water and minimize single-use plastic waste. The other thing you need to know is that AGL is a small family-owned business. Based in Northern California, they support disc golf, so you should consider supporting them. One piece of news, or perhaps speculation, that has a lot of people talking, is the prospect of quote-unquote old Innova molds coming back into production. When Discmania and Innova ended their long-running partnership, Discmania kept the names of all their discs, but the molds themselves were and continue to be owned by Innova. And one of the first people I talked to about AGL's move to Innova said, I heard they're going to bring back the old DD3. And that would be some good news, because Innova-made Discmania discs were unbelievably popular. Take a moment to scroll eBay for collector discs and you'll find the likes of the Night Strike, Crescent Falcon, Doombird, Cloudbreaker, Sky God, Iron Samurai, and more. All of these were Innova-made molds, including the FD, DD3, and MD3. So right out of the gate, AGL has people talking about the quality of these molds, even before a disc has been thrown. But what about the plastic? There are other companies made by Innova, including Infinite Discs and Millennium, and in each case they appear to use the exact same plastic blends but with rebranded names. Champion Plastic becomes C-Blend with Infinite, and Quantum with Millennium. The same is true of Star, which is S-Blend and Sirius, Halo Star, which is Halo S-Blend and Helio Sirius. You get the idea. But AGL is taking a different approach. While their discs are named after trees, the plastics are named after biomes where trees grow. Polar is their premium opaque plastic blend, while Alpine is their premium translucent, and Woodland is a grippy baseline plastic. Now, all of those plastic names were in use with the Gateway manufactured AGL discs, and rather than rebranding all the plastics, they've decided to continue to use those names. The old Gateway-made plastics will be referred to as Old Polar, Old Alpine, and Old Woodland, while the new Innova-made plastics are New Polar, New Alpine, and so on. And that's partially a great idea because it keeps the branding consistent, but it's also a great idea because the new Polar and Alpine are not just copy-paste versions of Star and Champion. AGL's commitment to sustainable manufacturing means they've struck a deal with Innova to use up to 40% regrind plastic in each blend. In any injection molded plastic manufacturing process, there is waste. You may have discs with imperfections, flashing that's cut off at the end of the production process, and much more. I mean, take a moment to watch Trash Panda or Smarter Everyday's video from the MVP factory to learn more. AGL's new Polar plastic is up to 40% regrind star plastic, while the new Alpine is made of Champion, and Woodland is Innova's popular Nexus plastic. And this is all good news for longtime Innova fans in at least two ways. The first is, of course, that these plastics should immediately be familiar in terms of appearance and feel. The second is performance, which may be the thing that gets people most excited about these discs. Innova's only other recycled plastic is called EcoStar. And the word on the street, as well as in some of our own testing, is that EcoStar destroyers absolutely bomb. So with everything we've learned so far, there's some real hype building for AGL's new discs. But can they live up to it? But before we find out, a quick reminder that if you enjoy the content we create, there are several great ways that you can support us here at Six Sided Discs. Consider becoming a member. Starting at just $1 a month, you can help ensure this content continues to improve. Plus, our $3, $6, and $12 a month member tiers get discounts on discs, accessories, and apparel from our website. You're already buying discs online. Why not get a discount that pays for itself? And you can also stop by and say hello at one of our many tour stops this season, starting with this week at the LWS Open at Idlewild, where we'll be set up for all 3 days alongside all the other vendors. At each stop, we'll be giving away our brand new Flight Numbers Don't Matter patches to subscribers, so make sure you stop by, say hello, and show us you're subscribed to our channel to get your patch. Quantities are limited for each event, and these patches will not be on sale until early next year, so get yours while you can. Thank you all so much for your support, and let's take a look at how these AGL discs fly. Beginning with the new Woodland KOA. The KOA is AGL's introductory putter with Innova, rated at 2301. It's a beaded putter with a rounded shoulder and slightly domey top. Now, at first you might think that KOA is named after the campground, KOA or Campgrounds of America, because that's what I thought. But you'd be wrong, just like I was. No, actually, it's called the Koa, not KOA. It's a type of acacia tree that grows in Hawaii. It's a strong hardwood that was used in Hawaiian culture to make weapons and canoes. Koa also came to mean warrior. Now, this is not just a randomly selected tree because it's actually a variation on one of AGL's old gateway putters, the acacia. And as it turns out, the design of the Koa is actually quite similar to the acacia, with a similarly rounded rim and beaded edge. Off the tee, the Koa has a neutral stability, gently holding pretty much whatever angle you put it on. Anheuser's like to slowly pan out, and hyzer shots may flip up gently to stall out. Every company needs a neutrally flying, moderately stable putter in their lineup, and the Koa is exactly that. A great introductory putter, AGL's off to a smooth start. But next up, we leap up in speed and way over in stability to the Elm. Rated at 9403, the Elm is immediately familiar to anyone who's held an Innova Firebird. With a slightly domier top than most Firebirds, it's named after the elm tree, currently found all over the Northern Hemisphere, from North America to Europe, much of Asia, and as far south as Indonesia. And the tree's namesake is exactly what the flight numbers say, reliably overstable. Off the tee, Caleb let it rip several times, and it was super consistent. Exactly what you want from an overstable disc. No real major feedback from us on the Alpine Elm, though I could see it having a little less stability in the new Polar plastic. And that takes us to the disc that will pique most people's curiosity, the Sequoia. So before we explore the Sequoia, it's worth asking why, when the Destroyer is such a popular mold, would anyone care about Innova bringing back the old DD3 that is, allegedly, so similar? And the first reason requires us to understand both what the DD3 and the Destroyer have in common, but also what makes them different. Let's begin with their dimensions. And you might think that at first glance there are some moderate differences, but for the ones that most accurately describe the shape of the disc, like diameter, rim depth, rim thickness, and inside rim diameter, they are all nearly identical. And this makes sense because all three of these molds are, after all, made by the same company. What made the DD3 so popular is that it was often a little bit less overstable than the Destroyer. And that could appeal to players with power, but of course also appeal to lower arm speed amateur players who are looking for big distance. So will the Sequoia fill that sort of flippy Destroyer slot? Let's find out. For Caleb, someone with a lot of power and torque, it was an understable Destroyer type disc. Plenty of turn, followed by enough fade to fight back, making it pretty close to the old DD3. With just a little bit less power, Caleb was able to get it to fly a much straighter flight before that low speed fade kicked in. But on a flat forehand, it showed still quite a bit of turn. And all in all, it looks like AGL made an excellent choice going with one of the most popular and trusted manufacturers in the business. Amateur players then can rejoice because it looks like your next bomber disc has arrived. And it might just be a gem that AGL and Innova have collectively brought back from the dead. What do you think of AGL's new discs? And are you excited about their partnership with Innova? Let us know in the comments below. And also comment below what brands we should explore next in our First Impression series. For Six Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one.
Oh, we don't like that.
None of these were things that I expected to see this year. And it's part of the fun and excitement of trying to keep track of all the moves and If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or becoming a member. Your support makes this content possible.